I wanted to talk about this debate that has gone viral this week, in which Mehdi Hasan, a progressive commentator who runs a website called Zateo, he did one of those Jubilee videos where it's like one person versus 20 people who disagree with him in a circle. And I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago because the last time a video like this, one of those Jubilee videos, went viral, it was Jordan Peterson at the center of the circle and a bunch of people much smarter than Jordan Peterson on the outside. And they were debating religion, and it was a bunch of atheists around there. And the people behind Jubilee actually contacted me asking if I wanted to participate in what they build as like a Christian versus atheist debate using their format. And I don't live anywhere near Los Angeles. I could not do it even if I wanted to, so it didn't happen. But they did have some interesting atheists represent that position. Anyway, so this week they had Mehdi Hasan, and he was debating a bunch of far right conservatives. And one of the people who decided to debate him was this guy named Connor. And I know that because they include their names whenever these guys get in the circle to argue with them. And I'm going to play for you a couple of clips from this scene with Connor because some of the people in that circle got downright scary, Connor being one of them. I actually thought Mehdi Hasan did a really good job in that particular format. He is known as a guy who knows how to debate. He comes to interviews and debates prepared. He brings the receipts. And in this particular, he's even written a book about how to debate. Like, he knows what he's doing. And in this particular format, he was clearly prepared. He did not realize how insane the other people would be. But I'll play for you the first clip. And this is this dude, Connor, who wants to argue with him. And I will play the first clip and then we'll talk about it. Yikes. So one of the things about that clip is, and Mehdi Hasan points this out right after that, it's Donald Trump is not Catholic, to which this guy says, doesn't matter to me. I'm not a fan of Trump. I did not vote for Trump. But clearly, we're not even talking about right-wing Republicans. We are talking about right-wing extremists. And this guy is like, yeah, I want to live in an autocracy. I want basically a benevolent king who likes me. And if he doesn't like you, so what? You're not me. I don't care about you. It's a very scary thing to be thinking. And I imagine if you're Mehdi, you're like, I came prepared to argue with Republicans only to realize, oh, they're bringing crazy, insane people who don't want to live in a democracy anymore. And that's frightening. But this Connor guy is interesting. One, he's just super smug, even though he has nothing to back it up. And he's very proud of this idea that, yeah, I like autocracy. No, I don't like democracy. Yeah, the rules that apply to you should not have to apply to me. And that's a scary thing for anyone to think. Let me play a second clip over here. So not only is this guy anti-democratic, this guy's also a flat out racist. He thinks only people like him. Like, this is the thing about conservatives. They believe the law does not apply to them, and they think the entire world should look like whatever their family looks like. You see this, by the way, in conservative Christian circles too, where they say things like women should be homemakers, women should be submissive to men. I don't even care if that's what you do in your own family, but they always want to apply it to your family because whatever your family looks like, it's not what they want. So there's something wrong with you, right? That's the mindset. Whatever they do is the standard, it's the default. Everyone else is deviating from that. And that doesn't make them different, it makes them wrong. And that's this guy's mindset. There's one more clip I want to play because here's what we've heard from Connor so far. He's into autocracy. He's definitely racist. But there's one more clip you should see and see what this guy says. He's so excited to say he's a fascist. He's so excited to cite a Nazi propagandist in that time. Like, it is scary that this guy exists. I've heard criticism, by the way, that the whole Jubilee platform, the whole video that's going viral, Jubilee should be criticized because what they're doing is platforming these people with these horrendous views. I would make one distinction with that. I actually liked this video. I watched the full hour 40 video of Mehdi debating these people. For the life of me, I have no idea how he managed to stay calm in the face of all of these people. But I think there is a difference between giving Mehdi Hasan this platform where he can knock down these right wing arguments and far right extremists versus giving someone like Jordan Peterson the stage where you have atheists coming one after another to knock him down, even though I liked most of the atheists who did that video. It depends who you're putting at the center of this and what's the point of view you're trying to get across. In this case, because Mehdi was trying to say certain things about Donald Trump, that he's supportive of criminal behavior, that he's anti-immigrant, that he's like bad for the country, I do think there's a good reason to have that platform. I do think if people want to criticize it and you have someone smart who can knock it down, that's actually good because these people do exist. Whether you like it or not, their ideas are going to be heard. And I'd rather have them do it right out in the open rather than a silo on Rumble or whatever pages they are using. So for Mehdi Hasan to get these people to say out loud these horrible, despicable things. Yeah, they're racist. Yes, they're fascist. Yes, they support Nazis in certain ways. I think it's important to get that out there because Republicans can't easily run away when this stuff is right out there in the mainstream. They want to pretend these are fringe elements, but what these guys believe is not that fringe. Even if you think the Nazi sympathizing is extreme, well, the racism isn't. We see it in Donald Trump's policies backed by the Republican Party. So I actually don't mind the format. I think it depends on who you're trying to put at the center. If you're putting like a right-wing extremist in the middle of this circle, I do kind of have I do have a problem with giving them this chance to espouse their views as if they're the reasonable ones. Because again, the people outside the circle, they only get a few minutes to try and make their case. That's a lot of pressure. Whereas the person in the middle has like an hour, 2 hours to build out what it is that they say, what they believe. There's a lot more room for nuance there. So again, if you're putting Mehdi Hasan at the center, I don't mind it that much. Anyway, I'm bringing all this up because, and I wanted to show you those clips of Connor specifically because that's the guy out of all the crazy people who are trying to debate Mehdi. Connor's the one that's been in the news this week because of a thing he recently posted. And it reminded me of this particular meme. You may have seen this before. I'm going to show it here. This is an old tweet, but it always makes the round for certain reasons. But look at this imaginary conversation. The conservative says, I've been censored for my conservative views. Holy shit, you were censored for wanting lower taxes? LOL, no, not those views. Oh, so deregulation? Haha, not those views either. Which views exactly? Oh, you know the ones. And the joke here, obviously, is that Republicans, conservatives who always say they're being censored and silenced and suppressed, it doesn't matter if you're a politician or some right-wing comedian with duct tape on your mouth for your comedy special. Whenever you say, I'm being censored or silenced, it's like, oh, what is it that you said that people were trying to shut you up over? And they never will just say out loud what it is that they said. They always try to shield it somehow. Well, guess what happened to our friend Connor here? It turns out he launched a platform. He launched a page on Give, Send, Go, which is like the right-wing GoFundMe. Why? Because you could see right here, fired for my political beliefs. Really? They fired you because you're a conservative? No, they fired him, presumably, because he's a Nazi-loving, racist fascist. I don't know what this guy does for a living, and he doesn't say. But this is what he does right. My name is Connor, and I was recently shown in the latest Jubilee episode. As a result, unfortunately, I was subsequently released from my job, which, by the way, that is a sentence with very little grammar and way too many polysyllabic words. He's trying to sound smart, but he's not. I'm raising money as an emergency fund and for other expenses while I look for a new job. Unfortunately, voicing fully legal, traditional right wing political views like Hitler was fine and, all right, white people rule, that results in real consequences. This is cancel culture and political discrimination on full display. No, no, not even. This is not, yes, it's fully legal because you have the right to free speech. It's not traditional right wing political views, unless your argument is that everyone on the right is just a racist, fascist, Nazi sympathizer, which, you know what? I'm open to that one because, yeah, we kind of see it a lot of places. But I don't know what this guy did for a living. I don't know what conversation was had that led to him losing his job. I don't know if there was discrimination involved or some company, this unnamed company, just wanted to cut their ties with the guy and they saw the opportunity. Who knows? He did not give us information. I have not read the information anywhere. But interestingly enough, what I have seen is check this out. How much money has he raised? His goal was $15,000. As of this taping, he's raised over $36,000. So it turns out being a complete lunatic extremist is good for business. Also, I would point out, Give Share Go, Give Send Go, they have this section here where they say how many people have donated. And you could see how many people have given. Over 1,100 people have given money to this campaign. That's disturbing. How many people have shared this page with others? 148. Then they have this last section, which just makes me laugh because at no point did Connor say, I need you all to pray for me. Because, of course, all these Christian grifters, all these Catholic grifters, they know prayer's not actually going to help them. Thoughts and prayers are for kids who deal with mass shootings. When they need money, they actually need your cash. They don't want your prayers. And yet, that is still an option on this page. The comments on that page, by the way, are really scary because the people giving him money in big amounts are all saying very disturbing things as for why they're giving him their money. But I do find it funny that this guy thinks he's the victim because he lost his job, when what exactly happened in that video, Connor got several minutes, way more than some other people, by the way, to just, Mehdi Hasan gave him rope and this guy decided to take it and hang himself, right? Like, he just spoke. He clearly wasn't taken out of context. You could tell that he was saying exactly what he felt. And now he's suffering the consequences because his beliefs are disturbing. And now, as so many conservatives do, he's like, what? This is cancel culture. I've been discriminated against. It's like all Mehdi did is ask you what your beliefs are. And then you talked. And now you're very disturbed because it turns out when you say these insane things outside of your conservative bubble, outside of your right wing echo chambers, it turns out everything you believe is really disturbing. And if you don't have any friends in your life who could set you straight, and anyone that cares about you enough to tell you, holy shit, you need help, then you might go around thinking, yeah, this is a totally normal thing to believe. It's not. It's disturbing. And it seems like Mehdi was the first guy to point out, oh, you're broken on the inside somehow. But anyway, if you haven't watched that full video, I don't say this very often, especially about 100-minute long debates. But I don't know. I found it useful just to see how Mehdi responded to all this stuff. Not because I learned anything from the conservatives. Everything they said was stuff I already knew about them. They don't have any logical coherency, consistency. They believe really disturbing things that ultimately boils down to racism and their own ignorance. I already knew that. But if you want to see a really good debater knock this stuff down, it was really good to watch. I also appreciated one thing Jubilee does, which is they have real-time fact checks. And Mehdi Hasan was there spouting information, numbers, statistics, etc. And then in the video, you would see them put up a little like pop-up video thing that says, this is the truth. Like, we have the numbers in front of us. And it turns out everything Mehdi said was accurate. And they were doing that over and over, having that pop-up bubble come up and say, yeah, Mehdi's right on this, and whoever is arguing against it is just wrong, which I found to be very useful. So check out that video. I'll leave a link when this clip goes up. But yeah, I'm curious what you all thought about it. This is a fair one. They don't want free speech unless it's their ideas. That idea came through so much. They wanted to shut this guy down because they felt he wasn't. They felt Mehdi wasn't an American citizen. He is. He's a naturalized citizen, and that broke their brains. The idea that he was brown broke their brains a lot. And as some of these people, and it wasn't just Connor, pointed out, they believe citizenship should be limited to white people, people who have a stake in this country, as if immigrants don't. And then sometimes they would be like, well, I'm not saying just white people. There are some brown people who used to live here who have a stake in it, just not the kind of brown Mehdi is. So if I start a GoFundMe for being a jackass, I can get money. Not a GoFundMe, they might take down your page. But Give, Send, Go absolutely does not. I believe that's the site like Rittenhouse used after his incident too. But that kid with cancer who can't afford their care gets pennies at best. Yes, that's America for you. That's how it works. I think this is fair too. What these people forget is that you are still free to destroy your own life with your speech. Stop complaining about the hate you receive for the hate you espouse. This is always the thing about like comedians who are like, I'm a victim of cancel culture. It's like, no, you could say whatever you want. You have audiences that want to hear it. No one's saying you're not allowed to have a podcast or something like that. But if you're going to put this stuff out there, you deserve to be judged for it. And people are going to react to it. And if they think you're racist when you're making a joke that's not funny, and they say that out loud, that's not cancel culture. That's you not being smart or funny. Deal with that. This is also an interesting conspiracy theory, and I say that lovingly. I find highly suspicious he doesn't name the employer in the hopes of shaming them. I bet it's because there wasn't one. This is the thing I don't get. Like, if he got fired, it would be very easy, knowing how right-wing platformers work. If he said, I worked at this place and they fired me, and he said the name, it would be very easy to have all the right-wing assholes like gang up on that business, leave them bad reviews, send them nasty messages, maybe even worse. Like, that's what happens every time. They do it to libraries. So the fact that he didn't mention where he got fired from, it does open the door to the possibility that maybe this guy didn't even have a job. I mean, that's why he might have been available to do this filming. Who knows? And now he's just like, I lost my job. He goes by a pseudonym anyway online. I don't necessarily know what his deal is. On the flip side, can't imagine why his colleagues wouldn't want to work with a guy who wants to ethnically cleanse the country. Fair point. If that is what happened, my only issue with that is, guess what? There's a lot of Republicans who support Republican policies. They have jobs. They work everywhere. So unfortunately, if you have a lot of employees in your workplace, odds are there are a bunch of people who do not care about Republicans supporting genocide, Republicans trying to eliminate brown people, immigrants from this country, legal immigrants, because that's what they're doing right now, and that should be disturbing as well. That's the thing. I've seen so many people say this guy was some fringe extremist. It's like, well, which parts? Because mainstream Republicans believe a lot of this. There is a lot of overlap between what the run-of-the-mill Republicans defend and what this guy said out loud.